In this chapter, we're going to talk about layer styles. I love layer styles. Now, I know I say that probably at the beginning of every chapter, how much I love this chapter, but there's just so much to love about this program, isn't there? Layer styles represent another way to do non-destructive editing inside of Photoshop. When you apply a layer style to any layer, basically what you're doing is creating a temporary change that you can change back anytime you want to. Now, if you want to follow along, go into your working folder and open up Layer Styles 101.psd. That's what I am currently in. Now, we're not going to do any layer styles in this lesson. I just want to give you an idea of what they are. And in the rest of the chapter, we'll be doing them. Let me move the Layers panel over here, just so we know what we're talking about, and pull that down. Layer styles are applied to a layer by clicking this button right here. And there are all kinds of layer styles. Let's start with a couple of examples. I've got one here called Drop Shadow. Notice the FX over here, and there is no FX here, and there is no FX down here. When you see that next to a layer, it means there's a layer style applied to it, one or more. If I show that layer, you can see the word Drop Shadow has a drop shadow on it. Now, the cool thing about layer styles, besides the fact if you don't want to wear this tomorrow and you wish you'd never done it, you can get rid of it, is that they grow or they flex with the layer itself. For example, if I select that layer and I go up to the word Edit on the pull-down menu and go down to Free Transform, that's a Control or a Command, Control in Windows, Command on Mac T. If you're like me and you use that one a lot, you want to remember that shortcut. And I go to a corner and I begin making it bigger and then double click. The shadow itself has readjusted itself to the new shape. So that's another cool feature, is that it will adjust as you work. The other thing is that anything inside of the layer, we draw something else in there, will take on those effects. So the effect is not actually to the object in the layer, and technically there are no objects in Photoshop, but it's the whole layer. So if I come over here and pick up this tool right here, I'll just use the shape that I have. It's a shape drawing tool. And come into that layer and draw a shape. It will take on the drop shadow. Anything we put in there will take on that effect. If you want to see the effect that's in the layer, all you have to do is click this button right here, and it will show you the effect is a drop shadow. Let's go ahead and close that one and close this down like that. I've got another one here to show you called Pattern Overlay. Again, we can open that up. And if I turn it on, the scissors basically have on them a pattern. So the cool thing is when you're drawing and creating layer styles, a lot of times you don't have to worry about what it's eventually going to be in terms of its pattern or color, because you can change that now. And if I turn that off, just by clicking here, you can see basically it's just a shape that's black. The pattern overlay changes everything about it. Let me go ahead and close that and open up this one right here. Now, this one has a couple of things on it. This one has a bevel and emboss. It has a pattern overlay, and it has a drop shadow. Anytime you want to turn them on and off, just click the Show Hide buttons right here. You want to get rid of all of them temporarily, just click here. You're back to whatever it is that you drew before you put the effects on top of it. If there's an effect you no longer want, and you don't just want to turn it off, you just don't want it, what you can do is grab it right here and drag it to the trash can. So we add effects to layers by clicking this button here after we've selected the layer that we want to add the effect to. We can manipulate the effects and they will grow or shrink with whatever we're doing in that layer. We can turn them on and off with these buttons, and we can get rid of them if we change our mind by simply dragging them to the trash. Totally non-destructive.